What's up, fam? What's up, hot fam? Everybody, what's going on? What's going on? Welcome, everybody, to the podcast. This is the altar call.
Yes.
This is the altar call. I'm one of the hosts, Bishop Percy Porter, but for the purpose of the altar call, Percy. Percy's in the building.
I'm Christine, y'all.
Yeah.
I'm also one of the hosts.
Yeah.
I'm Michael. You probably saw me several times up here.
Yes.
I'm up here again.
A reoccurring guest.
Yes.
Also joining us.
And I am Kenny Martin.
All right, Kmart.
Kmart in
Yes,
the building. And look, we just want to thank you guys for joining us on the altar call. We just want to continue to have these developing conversations with our young people because we know more than anything else what they're missing is a voice, right?
Right.
We're not trying to control the voice, but we're trying to hear the voice.
Yeah.
And we can only hear it if y'all speak up and tell
Amen.
us what's happening, what's
Amen.
going on with your life, and we can help you any way that we can. And today's topic, the topic today on this episode of the Altar Call is about changes and transformations. Changes and transformations. If I may, Christine,
Yeah, go ahead.
because you know what you did.
I know what I did. I mean, we are talking about changes and transformations. Of course, we have Michael here. He's going through a change and transformation. I feel like we all are.
Yeah.
You know, it's about to be the new year. Everybody's going to have new resolutions, new goals. But first and foremost, what are changes and transformations? First off, what do you think transformation means, to you? Any one of y'all.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that a directed question to me or what? I just think generally transformation means the overall change, the inner or effect that it can have on a person.
Mm-hmm.
The mental effect, the physical effect, everything all tied in transformation. Like, for an example, a butterfly, they don't have a mental effect, it's a physical effect.
Mm-hmm.
A caterpillar and then a butterfly. But if you're going into like how I am from middle school to ninth grade, it's kind of like a mental transition
Mm-hmm.
into how you're supposed to act in middle school according to how high school goes about.
Yeah.
It's like it's a mental change but not really a physical change.
That's kind of like maturity, though, right? Like you're transforming inside. I also know about spiritual transformations that people have. Kenny, I know the last time that we spoke on the podcast, you talked about a spiritual transformation that you had about coming back into the church and everything.
That's right.
I guess, how do you deal with those changes, though? Because sometimes it can be good and sometimes it can be bad or mentally, people think that change is bad,
Right.
But change is actually...
Anytime I got to switch up, is something wrong.
Yeah, you hear the saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and things like that. But sometimes it can be good, So how do you go through it,
So even with quote unquote bad, there's always some good to take out of it. Like my transformation was spurred on because of the death of my spouse.
Mm-hmm.
And then the realization that I needed something more in my life, not only just for me, but for my two sons and my daughter that I was raising at the time, who were young adults and a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
So dealing with that, and of course it had its negative parts, but at the end of the day, the transformation that I had to make into being a single father, a role model father for young men and for the young lady that I had with me, it spurred me to be more outspoken because I've always been a subdued type of person. I became more outspoken. I had to be a little bit more opinionated. I had to be a little bit more forceful because I allowed my wife to handle the discipline of the family unless it was really necessary for me to step in and say something. And in that, my transformation and then coming into this new situation where I have another young man to model himself after me, another young lady to raise, to learn how to be treated by men.
Yeah.
It allowed me to be able to be a little bit more forceful, have a little bit more voice, and to be a little more stout in the way I handle things with my new family.
Gotcha.
Wow.
I love that.
Can I go back to Mike though?
Yeah.
With that, because I remember, so being in education, right? So being in education and working at in an environment that's specifically 6th through 12th grade, right? I see like a lot of the changes from 6th to 7th grade, and from 7th to 8th grade, right? And then from 8th to 9th grade. Mike is in a situation, he went from physical middle school, junior high, what we used to call it, into a physical high school, right? So I see what you're talking about. You go from being the top dog at the middle school in the 8th grade,
Yeah.
Right.
and now you dog food, right, in the 9th grade. And what are you seeing happen with your peers that are and how that transition and change is affecting them on your school campus?
So if most people don't know already, since the pandemic happened, when we went into quarantine, yeah, seclusion, that a lot of kids most kids have really got set back mentally, because kind of like school is where you build your mental like focus, all of how that's kind of really where your mind mainly develops outside of home and everything. So when quarantine hit, all of us kind of skipped that 7th grade maturity, and we were just really at home, so we couldn't really interact with people, couldn't like deal with things that we had to deal with and all that stuff. So I feel like when 8th grade came, a big chunk of us were stuck in 6th grade maturity, like a big chunk, a huge chunk of them.
Yeah.
So like 8th grade was kind of really that shock where you really have to put in more effort than 6th grade. Because 7th grade, not much effort was really had to be put in because everything was computer. It was a lot more easier and simpler. So when 8th grade hit, it was more of a reality check where we had to realize that we're not really kids anymore. We're about to be going to high school. We have to apply to high school. We have to do all of this stuff just to make sure we get into high school. Now me, I kind of already knew how the process went down because my mom had talked to me about it. Said, "Oh, we're gonna go here. We have to go check the school," and we did that. We were doing that, and we had prepared. She had knew this. She had told me in 6th grade that since my grades start from 6th to 8th, that's when high schools really start checking out your grades. So I will always try my best to get good grades and that's kind of how I did. But when 9th grade came, I still kind of felt like these kids were stuck in 7th grade maturity. Most of them are kind of stuck in 6th grade maturity, but I kind of realized that's like, I really don't know these kids like that because I just met them.
Yeah.
So I notice now, since we're coming close to the semester, that some of these kids have grown better in controlling their emotions, how they react to people, because like I feel like some of the teachers really have to act like they're the child's parent in some cases.
And what school you go to, man?
Da Vinci. I go to Division Communications in El Segundo.
Shout out to Division Communications in El Segundo.
But like, the teachers sometimes do have to step up and act like a parent to make sure the kid stays cool and stays focused in class. But some of the kids, they don't stay focused, they don't do their work, and it kind of puts stress on the entire class because you're kind of holding us all back when we're supposed to be like done and everything's about the way.
Yeah, and it's crazy, Mike, because I see what you're saying from a student perspective, right? But y'all know I sit in another seat,
Right.
Other than the church, and that's from the admin perspective of the school. And one of the things that we've been focusing on as a group of leaders at the school is the learning loss that you all dealt with 6th grade. That's the common term that's going around in educational settings. well, at least in the setting where I sit the most, is learning loss and dealing with the learning loss. So you all don't think that we deal with it, but we are, or it's being dealt with from the, standpoint of the districts, school principals, teachers, all that. We got to think about that because we got to still try to help you guys get there, and then closing the gap with what they call the achievement gap, to help you all still be able to get back on track and get where you're supposed to be. Crazy thing is, right? I've always said, it's always been the philosophy of mine, and you kind of put it in words, but this has always been my philosophy from the time I went into education, and that is school prepares you for two things. Two things as students, prepares you for two things. First thing, everything you need to know socially.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. And even I was saying this before. Check the receipts. Ask somebody who's known me. I've said this even before the quarantine. Everything you need to know socially, because there is a social maturity that goes along from going from grade to grade. And anytime you are dealing with people who are still acting like they acted in the 5th grade, and you in the 8th grade, you're like wait a minute, like I don't really want to hang out with you because I don't want to chew Bubblicious all the time.
Right.
We chew double mint now. You know what I mean? That's the thing. The first thing social. The second thing is academics, and they're really 1A and 1B. Everything you need academically to move to the next level.
Yeah.
Schools all across the world during that time did everything they could to make sure students didn't get left behind academically, and a lot of them did. Even though they were going to school online and all that kind of stuff, they missed the social aspect of it.
Yeah.
And it hurt kids when parents would allow their kids to not, even though everybody was on Zoom, you don't have to show your face.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't have to let people see you. You can stay in the bed with the covers over your face and all that kind of stuff. It hurt because even that part, they're still in their little hole.
Yeah.
And they didn't see that they were missing that social piece.
But also, when they're in that little hole, once they come out of it, it's like, oh, I never saw you on the screen, so I don't know who you are. Yeah, yeah.
I'm still a caterpillar.
Yeah.
Mike, where you get your wings from? Right. How did I get, you missed that whole social piece.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that you recognize this even now. Let me ask you a question. And it ain't on the sheet.
Oh, it's fine.
Can I go off the script? for a
Yeah,
second?
of course. That was just the basis of what we talking about.
Because I got to be real, but I got to ask Mike to be real too. And I can't ask you to be real if I ain't going to be real. Right. Ninth grade for me was a crazy year. And I could look back at it and see now as an adult why it was so crazy. I didn't understand it when I was going through when I was in the ninth grade. I didn't get it. But it caused me to develop another aspect of my life, which was to develop without people knowing what's going on with me. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I say this, and I've said it before. First time I'm saying it on the podcast. And I want you to know that it's okay, because that's what this is about, right? This space is about being open and being, honest with what's going on. Ninth grade, man, now dig this. Second grade, I was identified by the state of California as a gifted minor, right, mentally. I was in a group called MGM. And my sister used to say it stood for mentally goofy minor. No, and San, shout out to San and Kurt. They used to say, my cousin used to say mentally goofy minors, but it was mentally gifted minors. I was put in this gifted program, sent to another school, honors classes in middle school, right? Got into some high-level classes once I got to Inglewood, high school. Got to Inglewood, and for the first time in my life, failed 2 classes in the ninth grade. Failed them. First semester, failed. The reason why a lot of, y'all don't tell my mama, but the reason why a lot of schools now put like fail on the report card, spell that thing out, is because
Yes, sir.
I made that F a B.
A B.
You can make it in A.
Yeah.
On the
You
report
can make
card,
it
but
A,
it
but
was the dot matrix,
it's not-
right? So I put that, I
right.
put them dots in there.
Yep.
Pretty good artist. You couldn't tell I didn't have B's. I had B's in those 2 classes, right? And,
Right.
and failed 2 classes off the bat. Because while I was mature socially, I was too mature. So I was trying to do things that I, as a freshman, that only people who were like juniors and seniors were doing. You see what I'm saying? Trying to fit in because I knew all these people. You going into a new environment. How you doing in school, first of all, and are you dealing with any struggles because of the new environment?
So, when right now, as of grades wise, I am doing good. I am passing all my classes with a B or above. So I feel like I'm doing good with that. But my school, the way they grade, it's not like a regular grading, it's a mastery. Do you know what mastery grading is?
Talk to me now.
Yeah.
That was then, man. I failed classes then, Mike. I know what mastery means, brother.
Okay, cause
Talk to me like I don't know.
no, I'm saying like, do you know what mastery grading is?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. It's like they mastery grade us on what we currently know. My
Okay.
school is not based off like what you knew during the test or what you currently know overall. So my grades are doing good, but I kind of felt like in the beginning semester I was struggling because I kind of really didn't understand the curriculum and how they did set up the grading, where we took tests. Because when I took my first test, I got a 2.5 out of 4. And the teacher I thought I failed. I thought I bunked that test. I really did. And the teacher was like, no, that's a B+. And I was like, no. Because I was literally so confused. And then I thought I was going to get in trouble because I got a 2 out of 5. So then she was like, no, that's a B. And I looked at the grading scale and it was a B. But I really thought I had failed that test. Because I'm usually, if you think about it, 3 out of 4, 3
It's a C.
is a C.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking I just
Tradition.
really blew that test.
Right.
And then like, no, that's a B+. I'm like, oh. But then once I started taking more tests, I did get better. Like I started getting like a 4 out of 4, 3.5 out of 4. But like I was just so totally confused. But at one point I started failing math, but I did get that back up to a B. I did because
You were failing math?
Mhm.
Really?
How did you
Tell
feel?
them what math, it wasn't just math. What math was it?
It was we're doing linear equations.
Okay.
Oh, my
Excuse me.
favorite.
Excuse me.
Now me,
linear equations.
when he
Yeah.
first, because I've never heard a linear equation in my life.
Okay.
So I was so confused when they started explaining it. So he was like, we graph this, figure out y equals mx plus b, slope, everything. Now mind you, I know how to solve y equals mx plus b,
Okay.
but I don't know how to put it together.
Okay.
That's the thing. I don't
So
know
do
how
you know
to,
now?
Yes, I know how to find the components which are looking for the x, the slope, the y-intercept.
Okay.
I know how to do all of that.
Okay.
But the thing is, when I asked the teacher, he was like, "Oh, didn't you learn this in 8th grade?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He was like, we're adding more into what you already know." I'm like, "I've never learned this in my life," and I think that because I was going into a new district,
Different school.
a different whole new school district, because I came from LUSD, which is their Wiseburn district and LUSD are two, like their curriculum and learning is 2 different things. So I kind of had to take a step back and realize that I gotta work harder than the kids that came from the district, because I'm outside district, so I had to work a little harder than they had to.
So let me help you think about it. You have to work harder. It's got to work differently.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
They got it because they were groomed in it,
Mhm.
right? But you didn't get it because you weren't groomed in it. So now, being transplanted into that district, LUSD they're teaching the same thing that Wiseburn is teaching. Maybe you didn't take those classes, but it's the same thing. And now you're in Wiseburn, you're learning what somebody in the 8th grade
Had already
learned, but you missed it because you were at a different school.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah.
man, math is math.
Yeah, but
Right.
I did now. Since my final is coming up tomorrow for math, I feel like I have a way better grasp than I did in the beginning of the year.
You ready?
Yeah. Yeah, because I have to do a presentation. So I'm doing a POL, which is a presentation of learning,
Okay.
which will help me boost my grade. It will further increase my mastery in a certain skill.
Okay.
So like I'm doing the slopes and the linear relations. I'm doing that as my presentation. So I did pick a problem, and I solved it already and put it together. So when I do it, I have to show you step by step on how to solve the equation.
So you said a presentation, like
Yeah.
you actually have to get up in front of
Mm-hmm.
like
The class. Yeah.
the whole class and the teachers.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's up.
And then
I mean,
And that's your final?
Show
Oh
what you
no!
know.
Oh no! I have two types of finals. I have like the regular written final where I solve a
okay.
packet, do all that,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then I have a POL final,
Okay.
which is just an add-on to the regular final.
Okay.
And
So
I have
it's part of
to,
the grade, but not
yeah,
the
and I
whole
have
grade.
to dress up for that.
Oh, okay.
At
Like,
my school, we have to. They try to prepare you for like when you go to an interview, a conference. They try to prepare you for those type of things.
That's dope.
yeah.
So we have to come dressed up and put together, hair done. Hair can't be in face. Like it's a whole list of things that can't be.
You said tomorrow?
Oh no, my finals tomorrow. My written finals tomorrow.
When you doing your POL?
My POLs they start from this Thursday through next Thursday.
When you do yours?
They don't give our schedules out till tomorrow because they want people to have their POL slides done. So like they don't like if they give our schedule
You
last
said
week,
slides. You gotta do
Yeah.
PowerPoints or Google slides or something?
Google slides.
Google slides.
Yeah.
Well, it's good that they're preparing you for like public speaking
Yeah,
and the
that's dope.
outside world and things
Yeah.
like that. Because
Sure.
whenever I did a presentation, I was there, jumpsuit, shorts, whatever. Y'all gonna get what you gonna get. But I just want to go back to one thing when you said, in the beginning you were kind of failing math, and like Percy, I also my ninth grade year it was a struggle. Like people think I'm a certain type of way, but I was failing class, and it was because I didn't really care about school all that much, and I was more focused on my friends, and the environment of that class that I wasn't passing was different because I was the only person that looked like myself, and so I felt like I had to do a certain thing,
What's
but I
that
really,
mean?
huh?
You look like yourself. What you mean?
Yeah, I was the only black person, I was
Make her say it.
like seriously, I was the only black person. It was a class that I was gonna have for all 4 years. I'm still really good friends with all of them, but that was my first time actually being in an environment like that where growing up, I was always taught I had to be better than somebody who's different than me because everybody's gonna perceive me to be very low. And I thought, hey, I'm just low because everybody else has money. I came from a district, suburbs, everybody had money. But instead of going to my mom or my parents to say, hey, I'm struggling and it's because of this, I hid my report card. I couldn't change it. It was electronic. I hid the report card. And my counselor was really good friends with my mom. And for
You got
weeks,
caught.
yeah, my mom came in. She was like, hey, isn't it time? My mom's a teacher too. Isn't it time for your report cards? I said, oh, is it? And she looked at me and goes, where your report card at? I already know. I said, okay. And I grabbed it, and I was on punishment, but she talked with me. And she was like, why are you like this? Like, why are you getting this grades? This isn't you. How come you didn't ask for help? So did you feel comfortable going to your mom or Kenny for help when you were struggling with math? Or did you feel like you had to do it yourself? Because I'm independent, so I wanted to do it myself.
Okay, so the funny part is, when you're about to fail a class, the teachers feel so generous to email your parents and be like, so-and-so.
So generous.
So
Wait,
generous.
let him finish. Let him finish. This
They
is a
feel
good one.
so generous to email your parents to be like, so-and-so is failing a class, and I would like you to talk to them, see how they're doing. Is there any problems at home? They feel so generous. But the thing is, I kind of did feel like I had to do this on my own, because like in middle school and elementary school, most of my grades were coming from my mother. My projects grades, 100% were coming from my mother. Like she would do all like the projects, like putting together. I would tell her the idea I wanted, and she would put together exactly how I wanted. It was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But when I felt,
You was helping in there.
no, I
somewhere.
was. No,
Okay.
I was
He
like,
came up with the idea.
You just putting it all
I
out
came
there.
up with the idea, and we went to the store and like bought everything and put it together. But she's the one who actually like directed me on how to put it together. So like, but when I came to high school, I felt like I shouldn't have to depend on her as much as I did in middle school and elementary school.
What's that?
What?
What you just say?
How much I shouldn't.
You shouldn't have to.
I
What is that?
Transformation.
Right.
Yeah.
Transformation.
Even more than that, he went a step further. He didn't tell you this part, but the teacher did email his parents.
Because she was generous.
You're right, yeah. But the emails were routed to Michael because Michael had set it up for himself to receive all the
Oh,
emails.
so
for-
you got busted.
So
I don't set it up.
we didn't
I don't set it up
receive
like
the
that.
emails. It was set up for Michael to receive the emails. So they sent the email
To
for,
Michael.
yeah, to Michael, thinking that it was going to the parents. So, you know, as Holly is a very responsible parent and very, children would call it intrusive,
She got access to your email.
but no, she took his phone and looked through it.
Oh.
She does it regularly with both of the kids. She looks
Gotcha.
through their phones, see what they're talking about, who they're talking to, you know, and to make sure that nobody's coming after them, that they wouldn't, to find things that they wouldn't suspect.
That's such a good mom. I'm so
Yeah.
glad my mom did not do that.
Yeah, exactly. So, right, exactly. Wouldn't be here today. But yeah, so she saw the email and read it and like, why are you failing? Why did I not get this email? And Michael's like, well, you know, it's set up for me to get it.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
What did you say?
What did you say?
What did you say?
She had, this was at Thanksgiving. She had came to me and was like, did you know you're
So
failing math?
you at the dinner table.
No. I had done eating. I was just really irritated that night because the food did. It was supposed to start at 3:30, but it didn't start till like 5 something.
So
And I was just irritated.
You was hangry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I sat. It was on the couch, and then she was like, "Michael, did you know you're failing math?" And I was like, "Yeah, I already talked to the teacher about it, and I had a plan, and I'm not failing anymore because I followed the plan. I'm fine." And then she was like, "You know, you're failing math." And I think she said, "Why you didn't set the emails?" I was like, "I didn't know that I didn't. So I didn't fill out the form to sign me up and everything. The way that they send it to the kid because they suspect that the parent does have the kid's email already on their phone and everything. So they just sent it out, and that's what because it says to the parent of Michael Campbell. When
Right.
it's sent
So
to
is
my
it school email or your personal email?
school email.
Okay. Okay.
That's
I
what the
thought-
school.
Nah, I thought he just filled
thought
out
it
the form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He put
Instead
his
of
personal,
putting,
yeah.
he put his.
No,
you know,
Holly filled out all
Michael
the forms.
C at
but-
gmail.com.
She filled out all the forms. I don't handle the
No, but it's a
form
school
part.
email.
But it's a school
Yeah.
email.
And
so
she
that's-
expect or suspects that, or the school suspects that
That the
parents
parent has
will
the
monitor
email.
the email
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
because she has access to it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but
I know how that
did,
goes.
but we did I did like CC her in the email and just resend it to her.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so nice.
That was
Once again, would not have done
really
that.
good.
Being generous.
Well, yeah, she is very generous.
Very generous.
Kenny, I have to ask you a question because you raised multiple children, and I'm pretty sure you've gone through different
Transformation.
Very many
transformations.
Yes.
In this case, if one of your kids had a bad grade and was trying to hide it, or it didn't come to you and you didn't find out until later, or even if they were doing something and kind of failed. I don't really.
Right.
I love failure because that's the only way you're going to learn and actually change and transform into whoever you need to be. But as a parent, how do you look at that? Because I didn't want to disappoint my mom, you
Right.
know.
So the thing is, and what even myself growing up as a young adult, what you need to, what we all need to realize is the parents don't want to come down on the children for not passing their classes or their courses. We want to help you so that you do pass. So if you're having trouble, you let us know and we can intervene. If you don't let us know, then it comes out as at the end result is going to be a bad grade, failing, or possibly not graduating. And we all have to learn that. We've tried to continually talk to our children, and I've communicated to my children from back in the 80s to now. If something's going on in your life, you need to let me know. Talk to me. I'll talk to you about it. We'll see what we can work out. If it's a bad thing, so be it. I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna get upset. There will be punishment, but we're gonna move forward, and we're gonna get past whatever this is, and we're gonna get you right. The biggest thing is children are sometimes afraid to bring that bad news because of whatever the repercussions they think are going to be.
Or disappointment.
Or disappointment.
Yeah.
Sometimes, because my next to youngest son, Joshua, he was so wanting to please his parents that the fact that he might not be doing well would cause him to just, and he was emotional. He would just break down because it didn't seem like he was doing well. He couldn't handle it. He needed to be sure that he was doing well before he brought it to his parents. And I had to, break it down to him. I said, look, everything is not going to be on top. You're going to have to learn how to bring me the bad stuff too, so that I can help you get over it, get through it, get around it, or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's one of those things.
And like you say, you learn, right? Like I mentioned before, failing meant that I had to make up not just the classes, but the credits. And that's what a lot of young people don't get that are going into high school, because they think it's just about the grades. But when you actually fail, you have to make up not just the grade, but the credits that you missed. And I had to figure it out, how to do it without letting my circle socially know Percy failed.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it helped me develop those things in my life. I had to figure out some stuff to do. I found out some credit recovery methods that were available to students at the school. Went to Scrot, shout out to Scrot. Did some junior achievement work. And, as far as everybody else knew, I just wanted to do it because I was bored after school.
They didn't know that you had to make it up.
Yeah, they didn't know. Purse was just making up credits.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it built, right? It helped build me as a young person, helped transform me, to be more independent. Mike, a leading question with that in mind, after failing or being in a position of failing math to now passing, how has that transformed you as a student at Da Vinci?
Before I answer that question, you know how you were saying how your friends didn't know you were failing? For me, I have no shame in strip telling my friends I'm failing in class. Like it's not that failing is a bad thing, but I have friends that can help me not fail.
Well, but see, that's a difference between you and me, right? Because I wasn't that dude. You know what I mean? Not like that, but I wasn't the best at anything, but I always did my best. And I failed not because I couldn't get it. I failed because I didn't do my best. Right? Like I said, my thing was, back in the day, they used to call it senioritis.
Oh, I love that senioritis.
And
Yes.
I caught it as a freshman.
Freshmanitis?
Yeah. So the question about how that transfer. So I lived in one school. I lived 2 blocks away from Dane Freeman Elementary. I grew up in Inglewood. Shout out to Inglewood. Inglewood. The old Dane Freeman Elementary on 7th Avenue and 80th Street, right? So I grew up 2 blocks from Dane Freeman Elementary. But I went to Kelso Elementary, kindergarten through second grade, which is over by the Forum, about 2.5 miles away, still in Inglewood's district. When I was in the second grade is when I was classified as gifted. And they bused me to Warren Lane Elementary, which was on the other side of Inglewood. From the end of second grade through sixth grade. Elementary school went from K to 6 back then. So from the end of second grade through sixth grade, that's where I hooked up with Shannon and Leroy and all those cats, and that's why they're here, right? So I've got everybody who I knew from Warren Lane from 3.5 years, older and my age and then younger, than everybody who I knew from kindergarten to second grade, my age and older, from a whole nother school, and then everybody who I knew from the school that everybody in my neighborhood went to. I had a conversation with a friend of mine that's been my friend for years, and he asked me, he said, "Purse, remember such and such at Daniel Freeman?" I was like, "Bro, I didn't go to Daniel Freeman." He's like, "Wait a minute, you did go to Daniel Freeman?" I said, "No, I didn't. I never was a student at Daniel, but we used to play basketball after school." I was like, "That's because my bus used to let me off in front of the school, not go in the gate, we shoot hoop." Like, that's what it was. So all of those schools, it was only that's 3 out of 4 schools. All of those schools poured into one junior high school. And then that one junior high school poured into one high school.
Yeah.
Back then, it wasn't a thing where you went to this school because your mama said you wanted to go to, or you get a permit to go to that school because you had an auntie lived over here and you did. Nah, you went to the school where you lived.
In your neighborhood.
And it was harder to get those permits to go to other schools.
Yep.
So all of these schools, from all of these relationships I built at these schools, now everybody's at Inglewood. Everybody's there, older and younger. So I'm seeing people from the neighborhood. I'm seeing people from Daniel Freeman, people from Kelso, people from Warren Lane, who I knew from the neighborhood, all there. So when it came time to, what lunch you got? "Oh, I got first lunch." "Are we going down here for lunch, man? You want to go?" And first lunch turned into second lunch.
Right.
And before you know it, I'm ditching class, right? Too late to get back once we come back.
It's true.
Right? We get to school in the morning. "What you have first period?" "Oh, I got math first period, first thing in the morning." "Oh, so we going over to the donut shop before school. You want to go?" "Yeah, let's go get these donuts."
Yeah.
Ditching class. It's the senioritis, right? Just the influence and the transformation for me to learn how to do this. So now I can't show that I'm failing.
Right.
I can't, right?
Right.
Because I'm supposed to have it under control.
Yeah.
Passing everything else except for these 2 classes,
Yeah.
right? So now I got to figure this thing out.
So like, kind of back to your question on how failing a class as a semester team as a person, it was like, it kind of let me know that 8th grade and 9th grade are like, because I never had failed a class or like was starting to fail a class, but that really let me know that 8th and 9th grade are two different levels of understanding. So I had to go back and kind of literally read through the workbook and had to take my own notes in the book and try to understand it better. And then I had to go to our flex blocks, which is basically where the classes have office hours to ask questions and everything. So I went to math for 2 weeks, and I got my grade back up.
Okay.
So it kind of let me know that I needed to make my work habits better than they were in 8th grade. Because 8th grade for me, I didn't really have to do much. I just knew how to do everything.
You said
Yeah.
your mama did.
For like the work, for like doing like the work that we did inside school, I
Yeah.
didn't really have to do much because I kind of felt like I was one of the, like in each subject I was having an A or just a straight A. Because I just knew how to do it. I didn't have to try my hardest to look for stuff. I just knew where everything was.
Yeah.
How were you as a kid on campus in 8th grade?
I was, everybody knew who I was.
That ain't what I'm asking. Like,
Oh, like,
how like
were
people
you?
like you, like
Yeah.
teachers like you, so, because there's something called social promotion, right? And teachers will get, if you are failing a class, you got a 59, you know, in most traditional grading scales, you know, but teacher likes you,
Oh, she gonna boost that up to a C.
yeah, you get that little social boost.
Social
Yeah,
grace.
Right.
The teachers like me, the kids like me. I didn't get into drama like that. I really didn't.
Yeah, so,
Mm-hmm.
It was like only like close to the end of the year where I got into like 2 fights, and then that was it.
You was on campus scrapping, like, doing them things, man.
But it was
Get 'em,
over.
man. I'm
It was
sorry.
literally over the simplest things.
Doesn't
These
matter.
kids would get mad over the simplest things.
Fight!
People were
seriously.
People were kind of instigating it too. So I was
That's
like,
how fights go.
I was like, oh well. And then I didn't have it wasn't really, I didn't get in trouble at home, so it wasn't a big deal at home. But
Did they know?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
they called home. They wrote their incident report. They called.
They
home.
generously called.
They generously sent an email.
But I did end up making up with the kids anyway because it was literally over stupid stuff. So I was like, I did call. I did text them
Wait.
first.
Was it on social?
No, it was at school.
Yeah.
I
but-
don't do that fighting over Instagram. I don't do that fighting
No.
over Instagram
He's
stuff.
saying was it placed on social?
Yeah. You ain't gotta. You fighting. You can't film yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Are you
Okay.
sure?
I know.
Check the
I
burner
would've-
account.
I would have asked if it was
Well,
because
you know,
would have been. They would have had.
you
to.
didn't necessarily have to post it, but somebody
Right.
posted
I know.
on you.
Yeah, because I
So,
mean, there's
People record people all the time.
That's
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing
Yeah.
right now.
Post.
yeah,
I try to help young folks understand that what y'all doing now could be killing your future.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
You know.
definitely.
Yeah. In Shreveport, like I didn't go to high school in Shreveport, but I still know a lot of kids down there, and so it's been on the news and on Yahoo where I've seen actual video of some of the high schools there where the fighting is out of control.
Mm-hmm.
And I can pinpoint, oh, that's such and such, that's such and such. Oh, I know that teacher. Oh, she about to, and you know, it's like an all-out brawl. But people in corporations will do a deep dive online. I was interning at BET. They literally did not. 2 people were supposed to intern with me. They didn't end up coming because they were like, oh, we saw their social media. We did a deep dive online.
Wow.
There were some things that were not favorable to the company, so they will not be joining with us. That was my first time where I was like, oh, let me
Yeah.
watch what I post.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
let me watch what I do.
real.
Because everybody is literally recording,
Yes.
you know? Even if you go to like a high school party, you know, you could be in the corner, chilling. Somebody got the phone and
Yep.
then just swoop by.
Yep.
And something very sudden can happen, and then they're like, oh,
Michael.
was there. He did such and such,
Right.
you know?
And now you got the social flu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you handle that actually? Because as you, in high school, as you go from grade to grade, you mature, things will become different. You'll be doing different things, having different friends. How would you handle that, you know?
Okay, so I have a problem if you post a video on social media and it's a fighting video or a video of me just something at a party, I'm doing something, and I get text messages, DMs, and people asking me, Michael, why are you doing this? I'm gonna go to that person like, why did you post this? Cause like that, it doesn't make sense on what was the point of posting it when you get no benefit from it. And
Well,
you're
that don't matter. That,
you know, but like it's kind of
they ain't
like
trying to benefit. They trying to shame you. But see, so y'all don't think like that, right? So
And the other
it's
part
not.
of it,
It's not a part. It's not. Excuse me, bro.
You got
But
it.
it's not just why you post it,
mm-hmm.
right? Take that junk down
Yeah,
and
I
delete
do
the
that.
video,
Mm-hmm.
or it's gonna be a fight.
Yeah, I'll take your phone and delete the video out your phone.
I'm gonna snatch the phone.
Yeah, because I had it was a video of me dancing in class. When
That's what I'm
class was
talking about.
over, and someone had
Michael's
put
getting it.
it was a sound to it, and then they sent me the video, and I was like, well, why did you do it? Because I knew they were recording, because I thought it was funny, and they thought it was fun, so I was like, why not record it anyway? But the sound was, the sounds they put over it was not the funny part to me, so I was like, you want to, like, leave that out the phone for me. And it was like, they did it anyway, but I was like, that's kind of doing too much to put a sound over the video.
A sound, the video, the post. And like Christine said, y'all just see it right now.
Right.
5 years from now, and you are trying to find your first internship after your first year in college, and they go back. It don't take much, just a Google search.
Right.
You Google search, and if your name is attached to that video, so you was on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the way that the social media platforms are interconnected, you can, because I've seen on Facebook, on Instagram, and all of that, there's a picture that I'm in over here that I tag myself in, this family picture, Kenny Martin's in there, and then I'll see somebody else has posted another type of picture, and if I scan across it, it'll point me out and it'll say, you're right here, would you like to tag yourself?
Yeah.
The way the platforms are set up, you will be pointed out in every single
It's an algorithm.
Yeah.
And they come and companies can use that to basically eliminate folks, and you don't want to be one of the eliminated. So yeah, you do need to watch the things that are posted by other people, but you also need to watch the things that you post on yourself. Dancing videos and all the other stuff, TikToks and all of that. These things can come back to harm you in the future, depending on what it is that you're putting out there and what it is that people are looking for or looking to exclude you from. So those are the things that you have to be aware of.
Even though people are getting paid from it,
Yeah.
you gotta recognize only a few of them are getting rich.
Yeah.
Everybody else is just getting made fun of.
Yeah, for sure.
And like also how you said, how would I deal with that in like the coming grades and everything? At the end of the day, if it gets to a point where like I'm really irritated and I would fight you over that, but like I'm not going to, because I'm old enough to realize there's really no point in fighting over anything anymore, because I have more important things to deal with. And at the point, I'm just probably going to, if it's a school thing, if it was done in school, I'll let the counselor know, and the counselor can deal with that. But if it's outside of school, I'm just not really going to care anymore, because if it's outside of school, I could have, if I fight somebody, then it could be a police report, and that police report could get on my record, and I can't get into colleges, jobs, etc., like all of that stuff, but it's on my legal record,
Yeah.
so I can't really do anything.
Yeah, that's one thing I learned in high school is I control my actions and my emotions. I can't control anyone else's, So this was a topic that you had brought up to me multiple times, which is why I wanted to talk about it, especially with you here. I guess one last question that I want to ask you is, you talked about the strategy of going from middle school to high school, from 8th grade to 9th grade, how you studied in order to get used to the academic part of it. Going forward, because I don't know if you have a grasp of what high school is or what the 9th grade is at least, but what are your strategies in terms of moving from 9th to 10th, 10th to 11th, 11th to 12th?
As you know, the grade, as you move up a grade, it does get harder. So at my school, there's an advisory with a few people from every grade, so we can like get to know, have friends in each grade, so we just won't be socially cut off from just our grade.
Oh, that's awesome.
So the way I'm probably going to do it is I'm going to ask like my friends in the other grades, like what are their like things on like their strategies and how they learn and everything. But me, I'm more of a notes person, not really a visual person. So I take a lot of notes and everything. So like 10th grade and 10th and 11th 7th grade, I'm going to probably have at request like notebooks, like the physical books. So when I go home, I'll have like transparent sticky notes, because I'm pretty sure we do anatomy at one point.
Ooh,
At one,
like with frogs or with pigs?
You'll have biology. I don't know about anatomy.
My brother and sister take anatomy now,
What
and I'm
science
like, I
you have now?
can't.
physics.
Physics.
Oh.
So you probably have bio next year.
Yeah, because at my school we get physics. Physics is the first thing you do
Yeah.
Yeah.
in my school.
Anatomy is not necessarily a requirement as they require biology.
But I would love to do me some anatomy. I would
True.
love to.
Why?
I like cutting.
Yeah.
I like when I was younger. I would cut into like spiders and everything, so it was pretty fun to me. I know it's creepy,
Mad
but it
scientist.
was pretty fun to me. But
Dr. Frankenstein.
I feel like when I take notes, I saw these transparent sticky notes on TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
and like you could put it on and trace over stuff, and I could note it like that, so I can when I take notes, I know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Like that's what I'll probably buy some of those if I can find them. But overall, I just want like to be able to understand and have good grades throughout all high school.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to have to be that one person that has to retake a class.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if a college sees that you had to retake a class, that shows that you weren't truly focused and just overall not really a good student.
Yeah, but take it from somebody who's had to do it. What, man? I'll tell you, I'm transparent, man. I'm past that in my life. I've transformed.
Yes, sir.
And changed. But even though you have to take a class over, colleges recognize that this happens.
Yes.
Like the maturation process in everybody is not the same. So there are different situations. There are kids going through stuff on your campus, brother, you just don't know about. And it affect, well, you might know.
I'm pretty well versed in the knowledge at my school.
Yeah.
I know
Think-
a lot at my school.
And I'm not saying you don't.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you do. But even as much as you know, there's a whole lot that you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Because people keep their personal stuff personal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, when I first learned at our school, for an example, I shouted out Da Vinci. I'd probably be wrong if I didn't shout out New Designs.
I was about to
Shout
say.
out NDCS. When I first learned that we had students on our campus that were homeless, right? I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. They in school every day. How did this slip past? You know, how do we get to the point to where we're not noticing because they don't look like what you think a homeless,
Right.
you know, a student going through that situation because they're hiding it. There might be young ladies who are on your campus who are pregnant, right? Another transformation. And you aren't gonna know until the end of the summer when that baby's about to drop, you know, because they're hiding it. It would be the first thing. There are just certain things that people are going through that you want different transformations. So in how you deal with these transformations, you're not gonna have all the answers. Just know that you can deal with it going forward,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
You keep learning.
Yeah, keep learning and learn everything you can in the environment. Like, you aren't gonna make the same mistakes,
Right.
right? But you said that you were in a block something class that helped you get out of the hole that you were in, fell in this class.
I was in a flex block.
Flex
and-
block.
And then we also, it's a mandatory thing, it's algebra lab,
Okay.
where it's a class where you get aided in regular math. Everybody takes it
Okay.
at my school. It's just basically review what you learned in algebra, just coming back to it and adding on to it. Just reviewing the problems, and then if I had, cause I have, I don't take 6 classes a day. I just take 3 regular classes a day. So it's an A day, B day. I have math A day, and then algebra lab B day. So whatever we learned in
Hey.
A day, we go back in B day and revise it and just
Relearn.
understand it better.
You go over it presentation things.
The POLs.
Yep,
It's a presentation of learning.
yep. So those things, you're able to strengthen those things through those.
I'm able to strengthen my overall understanding of that subject. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I get 100% on that, I get 100%. That 100% becomes 100% in that.
In the other class.
Oh, nice.
That's dope.
So if I get 100% that, I already did like the math and everything. My girl would be like a 86, 89.
That's kind of like my English class senior year. My Miss Banks, shout out to Miss Banks. Miss Banks told the class, I just mean, she said, senior year, you can either do a presentation at the beginning of the year and get it ready for Black History Month, or you can take the final.
Presentation.
I would have went for that presentation.
Man, you don't think I did?
Yeah, because I had already took
Yeah.
my English final Friday, and I got 100% on that.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking
There
about.
you go.
Because for my English thing, it wasn't written. Do you know what what did I say it was?
What's that?
It was let me look on Canvas.
Well, I want to say sensory.
It was on Canvas. It was, let me go to grades. Scroll down. It was called a Socratic seminar.
Oh, Socratic seminar,
yeah.
And we did that on a book.
Yeah.
It was called the Part-Time Life of the Indian.
Y'all just sit around and talk about it.
And we had to read the book. The funny part was
Yeah.
we did it in class. We read the book through, like, it took us 2 weeks to read the whole book. So I did that. I took for the semester, I had to make questions. They had to be level 3 or above questions, which is like you're asking multiple questions in one question, but they had to be very detailed and specific. That's what I did, and I had to answer my own questions. So I did that, and then it was also about reading our language, our understanding of listening, speaking, and having conversation. Because in my English, we're supposed to, the English portion is basically just helping you when you're having a conference. You ask questions, can give a good response, you disagree, agree, just having a basic discussion. And I did. She said, yeah, she said I did. I was like, I did really good on that. So I got a 4 in the participation and the
That's
overall.
English?
Yeah, and the overall grade.
That's great.
The
Yeah.
4.
That's awesome.
So how does this transform you as a student?
It gave
Like
me.
using these multiple modalities of learning, you're learning now through different means, presentations, and having to, now that you've, had a setback and you had to get tutoring, whereas you said you never had to do that before, right? How does this transform you as a student? How does this change you as a
Not even as a student, but as a person as well.
Yeah,
Because a lot of
right.
this stuff you're gonna have to take to the outside world.
So like, if some of you already don't know this, I'm a hard introvert. I'm
What?
a real hard introvert. You can even ask my mom. You can ask everybody. I'm a really hard introvert. So I love doing things by myself. So like, when I did that, I felt like I was able to have I was really having fun doing that.
being introverted?
No, like doing the Socratic seminar. It helped. I feel like.
Oh, okay, because
it
you had to do it
helped-
with people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it helped better me having able to like go out more, have conversation with people, and starting the conversation because I was picked to start the Socratic seminar off anyway, so it kind of helped me my social skills have better social skills,
Okay.
having a better conversation with people overall. So like it kind of
So you've
translates to the
grown
room.
socially.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also growing like mentally because I've been able to. I can't like if you see me now, I can't just sit down straight in the chair. I have to move. So like when I was sitting in the chair, I was able to focus on what the person was saying instead of I didn't have to fiddle or like mess with my feet or anything. I was able to have a straight conversation. I would do any of that. So it kind of helped me better with anxiety as well too. And everything.
Well, if you ever want to be a journalist, I think you'll be awesome. Just let me know. No, because you do have a lot of times you do bring up some amazing questions. You know, for what I can see, you do connect with people. I'm an introvert as well, and a lot of people, when they see me, yeah, exactly, they give me that look. Because when they see me in social crowds, I can be like, oh, hey, what's going on and everything like that. Inside, I'm just like, look, I want to be in the corner. I just want to chill out. Like, I'll hide by myself, you know. I'll hide. Right. But you learn in those type of environments how to turn it on and turn it off, you know. So that's awesome. Speaking of you being good at questions, I want to turn it over to our next section of the podcast, which is questions from the collection plate. And that's basically where our HOP youth or our guest youth has a question for the panel. So, Michael, do you have one or two questions for any of us?
So this is a question. How for who? Okay. So when it comes down to understanding from a child's perspective on how school's going and how different school was in when you guys were in school and how
He said y'all.
How you guys are in school and how we're in school, and they come to you saying like school is hard. How would you react? Like, how would you react to them saying school is hard and everything?
Who's going first?
Kmart.
I'll go first.
Okay.
So my school was never hard for me. I put myself in difficult situations, but as far as the learning process is what it is. You know, if you have a set of skills and a way of learning and you use that to your best ability, you should succeed in your classes. As far as the hardness, the difficulties that most of you guys are going through social difficulties. And those are things that have to be talked out. They have to be discussed because we don't know what your social issues are until you bring them to us. Like, we know that you're an introvert. Okay, Michael's been an introvert, but you blossomed during that time that we had the pandemic. Academically, you did what you were supposed to do, but you made a couple of friends that you hung tight with throughout the pandemic who, you know, when we started opening back up, you got back in touch, well, you were always in touch with, but you got to be able to physically, you know, be with and be around, you know, during specific times. And then when you moved into going to the high school, now you have a whole group of friends. And first it was this little small corner, now you got this giant conclave of friends. And that's where I see the difficulties for you all are coming from. But you have to be able to say what your difficulties are. You know, if you just say school is hard, well, that's too general. You know, what about school is hard? Is it difficult for you to understand what the teacher's saying? Is it difficult for you to get to class on time? You know, are you having issues with the particular group that you're in, or is it some other people coming over trying to bully or, you know, take or do things? So it's never been hard, so to speak. It's been, there are challenges that you get through, but as far as what you may be dealing with, you have to come to us and let us know what it is, so then we can help you get over those humps.
Your turn. You thinking hard?
No, already, my answer's prepared. Like, it's easy for me to answer this question because, again, I deal with it daily, right? So, when young people come to me and they say, this is hard, this is difficult, I'm having a difficult time, I answer that statement with a question. And this is basically what Kenny was saying. Why? Why is it hard? Let's figure out where the problem is, right? I'm a solver, right? I just am, by nature. I see a problem, we're gonna fix this. what are we going to do? And it doesn't matter what it is. So I need to get to the root of the issue so that we can fix the problem. That's just the way I'm wired. That's the way I'm working. As Deacon Martin was saying, there are just other things that contribute to what makes the situation hard that I don't think you all see. So in trying to answer the question, I try to help you see what those contributing things are, what those contributing factors are. Is it your friends? Because it might be. Right. Sometimes, a lot of times, you know, you think you got a set of friends, and while they talking to you, you know, in this DM chain or text chain, that they on a whole other chain, you know, talking about you.
Yeah.
And, you know, which adds to your problem. This is a regular occurrence for me, in having to deal with young people with this situation. So I try to infuse them my way with what has been traditionally called like mother wit, like you had your mom that always knew how to deal with everything, regardless of what the situation was. She just knew how to deal with it. For instance, I've got a common tool that I use when I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, especially little girls in the 8th grade. Oh, they irk me because it's always, well, she said this about me, and she said she don't like me, and this, that, and other thing. So one of the things that y'all know how inclined I am to music.
Yeah.
One of the exercises that I try to use to help them through this thing is, I got a song by a group called The Emotions. It's an old song. They don't really want to listen to it because it's oldie, but it's good. The name of the song is Don't Ask My Neighbor.
Yep.
So I tell them to go Google search the lyrics to the song, get on YouTube, listen to the song while they're reading the lyrics, and then write and tell me how or what it means and how it applies to their situation. So I try to hit them from where I come from in a way that they can grasp it, and kind of like this, and then help them move through and transition through the situation. Because it's not, I found that, you know, not trying to get spiritual right now because this is table talk, but the Bible's true, right? There's nothing new under the sun.
Right.
Your situation isn't new, it's just new to you. And how you guys are dealing with it, we just have to help you matriculate or grow through and transform through these particular situations.
Yeah,
And
for
the
sure.
other thing is that you guys have to remember, because the youth these days forget that we were there at one point in time. We were your age. We did have to go, everything is not the same, but we still were your age, and we had to go through things, and we know stuff. Just because I may not always know how to push the right button on the phone to get to the certain app that you're looking for, doesn't mean
You can't push
that,
the button.
yeah, I'm just, yeah, exactly.
I love it though. I love it.
But,
Yeah.
that's the point. You know, just because I don't tap the right app, you know, or I don't tap the right part of the app to get to where I'm trying to get to, you know, or I may not know which website to go to find something, doesn't mean that I don't know anything about the subject. It means that I'm having a little bit of issue getting through the technology, but I still know the end result is I know what the subject is.
Yeah.
And you have to take into account the fact that we know stuff. You know, you don't become an adult, and you don't become an old adult by not knowing anything. You know, and you guys just have to realize that, yeah, there's some things that may seem silly to you that we don't, you know, have an immediate grasp on, but at the end of the day, I'll get you through it.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, I'll
Yeah.
get you through it. You just got to talk to me.
Yeah.
Simple as that, because we know.
That was a great question, Michael. Seriously, I just have to piggyback on what Kenny said in terms of high school. Like you said, high school is hard. You know, for me, it was more socially hard. You know, we talked a little bit before the podcast started. To be honest, a lot of the classes that I didn't do as great of a job that I wanted to is because I didn't really care, you know, and that was the thing. I really had to learn how to lead myself in order to be a better student. But it was literally just one class where I had a teacher. She barely spoke English. It was for pre-calculus. Wanted to pull my hair out. I went to my parents about it, and my dad literally, he was just like, just get a C. He was like, just pass the class so you don't have to take it anymore.
Right.
And that was the realest thing that he could have told me, because I thought they were going to be like, you have to.
Yeah.
But that was literally probably one of the only academic things that I really struggled with. Everything else was just socially. My best friend, I was in a communications magnet. Like I said before, I was in a class where it was all white students, and I was the only black one. It was like that for 4 years. The first year, I didn't know how to handle it. That particular situation prepared me for outside of college. When I first got my first job out here in LA, I was one of probably 3 black people in office. Yeah. So I knew how to maneuver. My grad school, same thing. I was the only black person in my grad school program, you know, so that helped me maneuver that. Other things, though, I was a part of communications. My best friend was in theater. She was Oprah, and I was Gail. I'm serious. Yeah. It was like that. She was Oprah. She was very popular. Shout out to Latrice. I love her. But she was very popular, and I was just the sidekick. So whenever we wanted to do something together, I was always left behind, you know, because people didn't really consider me as, you know, the best person. And I was an introvert, so I only had my small group, and I really didn't go outside of that. A lot of people lied on me to her to jeopardize our friendship, but we had such a bond that it was like, I heard this. I said, you know, I would never do that. Squashed, you know? But there were other friendships where if somebody lied on me, they couldn't believe it because Christine has done this before, Christine has done that before. And it was like, y'all don't really know me because I don't really talk to y'all. Y'all just make a lot of assumptions from stories that you heard from other people. Right. So it's that social aspect of, you know, that is what made high school hard for me. I didn't really like high school at all until my senior year when it was like, hey, I'm about to be out. Right. I only have 5 real classes. Yes, I only have 5 real classes. My friends and I, we about to go to every single dance, every football game, you know, was running it. But at the end of the day, I was still in the back burner. And I really had to learn how to accept that and learn that once I'm out of high school, I can be whoever I want to be. Nobody really is going to care, you know? You have another question?
No, I have a comment.
Go ahead.
Like,
no, I have a comment.
Right. So for me, I kind of feel like I kind of think like my mom when it comes to school. You know how mommy, like, how she thinks at work is how she thinks at home. Mm-hmm. So like, I feel like when I think at home, I don't think like I think at school. It's like I just feel like I think like my mom when I think at school. When it comes to work, I try to get it done when I get it. Mm-hmm. I try to get out the way the day of, and try to get things situated and put together the day of.
So you're not a procrastinator. You just like, let's get it done.
I procrastinate a little on like I had an essay one time. I had it done, but I just didn't turn it in till the day of. And I feel like I should have turned it in before, so I just didn't have to worry about it because I thought I didn't turn it in, but I did. So I was okay with that. But I feel like I do think like my mom a lot when it comes to schoolwork and everything. And I feel like that's because from when I was in middle school and elementary, she would do the project and she would show me how to do things like get it out the way, so I wouldn't have to worry about it later.
Yeah.
So I have like so much time on the weekends and everything, because I know once I get done and turn in my work, all like when I feel like when December 7th hits for my school, that's when we're done. That's when you can't turn any more work and everything like that's the finalized.
So when y'all out of school? At the end of
the 15th. But for me, my mind, I'm thinking, oh, I'm done with school, like no work, no anything. The 7th. So I guess I kind of feel like that Thursday, that's when break truly starts, but not really. So I wouldn't have to come home do work or anything. I would just come home and go to school
That's awesome, though. That's really going to get you far because I'm a procrastinator. And if it's like the day before something's supposed to be turned in, I'm like, my best work, you know, but done. But it's good because, like you said, it gives you more time. You're not stressed and, you know, you're more prepared. So that's definitely going to.
Because I know high school does stress you out with the workload.
Mm-hmm.
When I came to high school, the first week, I had to turn in an essay explaining on, like, to my English teacher, who am I, what I did over the summer, and I was like, it was a really big shock because in middle school I got barely any work because I would the work was so little that I could do it in class and turn it in class and wouldn't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Until, like, you know, they brought it up in class, like, oh, did you turn your work? And I was like, I turned it the day we got it. So I was like, I didn't worry about it. But when high school came, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't expect the workload to be so big. Like, now that I know how to do the workload, I'll be fine.
And that's what I was saying earlier, man. It's just it's not that you can't. You just learn how to do it differently.
Right.
Yeah.
You're learning differently.
Right.
Them presentations are now part of your process. So you're learning different. And it's a great thing. It's helping you to grow, helping you to transform, helping you to change.
And it also helps you with problem solving because you figure out and you find out within yourself that there's more than one way to do something, which is what, you know, we always trying to show you. When you get stuck with something and you say, well, I can't see it, or I can't do it, or I don't understand, I don't know why. Well, you have to look at it a different way. And we try to encourage you to do that, but without giving you more information. We want you to figure it out. And the whole thing is you have to stop, you have to unblock yourself and say, okay, what is it that they're trying to show me, as opposed to why are they not helping me get through this situation? No, I need you to think for yourself and think about another way. When you start realizing that, then you start problem solving and you'll find different ways to do things.
Yeah.
And a slight correction on what you said about your mom. She doesn't do what she does at work at home. She does what she does at home at work. That's why her work ethic is the way it is, because she developed that at home. And then she's a goer. She goes get it, she gets it done immediately, and then she goes to work, she does the exact same thing. And that way you eliminate the procrastination, you also eliminate the fear and the trepidation and the anxiety.
Kenny trying to get points.
Just a couple. Just a couple. Hey, I go home to this woman. But yeah, she tried, you know, she wants to get it up, done and out the way so that she doesn't have to worry about it anymore. And when other people follow suit, then it makes for a very easy day. The problem is when she's the only one that's going down that path and nobody else is going with her, then she's got to drag people along, and that's a whole different thing.
Yeah. That's
I
so.
gotta do that in, like, group projects sometimes. We gotta, cause there's a lot. In high school, I didn't realize there was a lot of lazy kids. I didn't
Look in the mirror.
I'm not lazy when it comes to work. When it comes to schoolwork, I'm not lazy. I get out.
I'm messing with you, Mike.
But I just didn't realize that there were so many kids that just didn't want to do anything.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of them.
I didn't know you could get burnt out so fast.
You go right now. Your biggest challenge is weeding those cats out.
Right.
And I was like, I had to even to explain to this kid.
No more presentations with you. No more presentations with you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm
Yeah.
selective.
If I'm in a group with you, I'm telling the teacher from the gate, look, they lazy, they don't like to work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's why in my
This is teaching you how to get through work when you get
at
older.
my school, what they do is, like, they let you pick your groups first. The first project, they let you pick your groups, and then, like, you know how teachers do that little observing thing, like they don't pay attention but they're paying attention.
Oh yeah.
Like that's, and then on the next project they'll be like, well, since you guys did so good in your groups, like, you guys can pick your groups again. As long as you're doing good in the groups you pick, you'll be fine. They don't pick your groups. But when they pick your groups, that's how you know you did something wrong the last time you had a group project. Or somebody else, a different group messed it up for you.
Still transformation because you still learn that all as you go along.
Right.
Yeah.
But I just
Exactly.
come to realize that you gotta deal with sometimes you gotta kind of sit since you're doing the work, you kind of just gotta sit there and let the lazy people do the work sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Cause like if you're always doing the work, you're gonna get burnt out like real quick and tired of just doing the work all the time.
Christine, what do we say next podcast? Third Sunday?
It's gonna be on the December 18th. So yeah,
Third Sunday.
third Sunday. Awesome. Well, this was an awesome discussion. I
was,
really
sorry.
enjoyed it. Hopefully, this helps anybody that's a youth, anybody that's going through a change or transformation. I want to thank Kmart. You know, Michael. Michael, you got a nickname?
In my school, I go by Mikael. So like, yeah.
Okay, Mikael. You know.
Everybody calls me Mikael.
You know.
Just bass in your voice. I go by Mikael.
My radio name is Christy K. So, but seriously, thank y'all for coming, talking about change and transformation. Does anybody have any quick final thoughts or final words? No? Okay.
I just want to say thanks to everybody who's checking out the podcast. We're back, we're streaming, we're going on. We're going to keep on pushing through this thing.
Yes.
The biggest thing that we want to do with this forum, with the altar call, is encourage not just HOP folks, but PGT Nation folks
Yeah.
and
Yes.
other churches. Look, we got to talk to these young people and give them a safe space to have open conversations. And that's what this is about. Right?
Yeah.
This is a safe space to have open conversations. No judgments, Mike, no judgment. That's not what this is about.
Right.
This is about, let us hear where you are, where you're coming from, so we can open it up for everybody. And if we have the altar call, what we'll try to do, Christine,
Yes.
Work it out.
What we
Work it out.
try to do.
what we'll try to do is have our topic up on the website prior to the altar call.
Oh, yeah, I could definitely do that.
And that way, if there are some questions from the collection plate, we can have those questions.
Yes.
And
And I'll also put on the website how to submit those questions as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Awesome. So be sure to tune in, not next week, but the week after on December 18th for the next episode of Altar Call. If you're watching right now, please like and subscribe. Please make sure you join HOPLiveWorship, where
Yes.
we are here every Sunday and Wednesday. Thank you all for joining us. Seriously.
Yeah. We
Yes.
love y'all. And there's
Thank
nothing
you
can
all
do
for
about it.
having me, and I'm
Hop
going.
live,
Yes.
hop live,
Yes.
worship.
I'm gonna end it.
Bye.
You
Yeah.
got it?
Hey,
Awesome.
man, we got to get Kenny to get back there because he got to
He has to end
play the
it.
outro song. Hey, today's intro song and outro song. That's one of my favorites by Lecrae. It's called Blessings.
Blessings.
Yeah, check that out.
Wait, who is it by?
Lecrae.
Oh, I love Lecrae. I've seen him in concert.
Yeah.
That's
we
my dog.
have to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Go ahead and run that again, but make sure you turn it down and then turn it up. Y'all know how it goes.